it's Christine Grace. Welcome back to my channel. Today is another reaction video. Like the video on your way in. Let's get straight into it. So today's video was sent over to me from my WhatsApp community. Valentin, thank you very much for sending it over. I hope you like this one. And it's from a channel called Psych Ledger that I've not come across before. And the video is titled 10 Brutal Reasons Men Won't Approach Women Anymore, The Truth. So no idea what it's going to entail, but let's check it out together.
Most people think men stopped approaching women because they're weak, afraid, or lazy, and that's what women tell themselves to avoid the uncomfortable truth. But I'm going to show you what's actually happening, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. Men haven't stopped approaching because they lack courage. They stopped because they did a cost-benefit analysis, and the math doesn't work anymore. The risk is catastrophic, the reward is minimal, and the entire system is rigged against them from the start. You're not crazy for noticing this, you're just awake. Here's a simple test that proves my point. Go to any public space and watch interactions between men and women, and notice something. Men don't make eye contact, they don't smile, they don't initiate, they walk past attractive women like they're invisible. And this isn't accidental, it's strategic survival. Your grandfather could approach a woman at a coffee shop, get rejected politely, and move on with his day. But you try that today, you risk being filmed, posted online, called a creep, and having your life destroyed by lunch. The game changed, and smart men adapted by not playing. Let me break down what's happening in a man's brain when he considers approaching a woman today, because he's running a threat assessment that would make a Navy SEAL proud, and every variable screams danger. First, there's the immediate social risk where she could react with visible disgust, loud rejection, or public humiliation, and her friends will back her up regardless of how respectful you were. Every woman nearby will assume you're...
Yeah, I think it's definitely always harder to approach a woman in a group because of the friends and because of the kind of things that we see on this channel all the time. Like the whole female sisterhood thing is something I would tend to avoid. If you are going to approach a girl in public though, I definitely think there is a right way to go about it, which gives me a great opportunity to talk about today's sponsor. Let's be real here for a second, guys. Most guys today are completely clueless when it comes to flirting. They either come off as creepy or worse, completely invisible, and then getting ignored by women. So I quickly want to tell you about today's sponsor, the Wing Girl Method. It's run by Marnie. Yes, a woman. She's actually helped thousands of men to stop failing at flirting. You should specifically check out her F formula. It teaches you the actual psychology behind attraction. It's not just pickup artist nonsense. It's real, practical stuff that works in the real world, and it's not just a viral TikTok video, which we all know I can't stand. If you're a guy who's completely given up on dating and you're not interested in women and you're happy staying single forever, then skip this ad, because seriously, this isn't for you. I'm not here to convince you. But if you're tired of getting ignored, you're tired of wondering why nothing ever goes anywhere, and you actually want to understand how to get a woman interested in you, and not the fake version of you that you think she wants, then this is definitely something that you should check out. The F formula gives you a full step-by-step formula to flip the script. So instead of you endlessly chasing her, you're the one that she's actually drawn to. And women do respond to flirting when it's done right. So because the Wing Girl Method is sponsoring today's video, they're offering my viewers an unbeatable deal. Just click the link in the description now and grab your exclusive preview of the F formula completely free. Plus, if you do decide to pick up the full program, you'll get an extra 20% off. We love a bargain. If you're tired of failing at flirting and being stuck on the sidelines, stop wasting time, take control of your dating life, and click the link below and get access right away. Back to the video. Yeah, personally, I think there's a couple of things that you can vet for if you are going to approach a woman. For a start, like if she's by herself, if you've already made eye contact, and if she smiles. Like, I know this is not very common these days, so I definitely wouldn't urge you to take the risk. But if you like the look of a girl and she's looking at you and she smiles, like, still approach. Like, she might just be being friendly. I mean, I smile at people if I make eye contact with anyone, no matter if they are male, female, you know, even if they're pretending to be something they're not. Like, if someone makes eye contact with me, I will smile. I just think it's the decent thing to do as a human being. And, you know, even if they're not interested in you in that way, like if they're the kind of person that just smiles at people, like they're not going to be like awful in how they reject you. Like they're just simply going to say like, I'm not interested, but, you know, nice to meet you, or get talking about something else. You never know, you might make friends. And I still think you should approach people in general. I still think you should talk to people in general, just to make friends. But obviously that's me saying this as a girl. I don't have the risk that you guys have. So ultimately, don't listen to what I'm saying. You're going to have to obviously do what feels right for you. And if another guy has said he's had success in this or that, then obviously, you know, you can decide what's going to work for your life. But for me, yeah, I think if I was a dude, I think if a girl has like smiled at me, then that's probably a good sign that you can at least talk to her, even if you're not going to, you know, make a move per se. Yeah, it's just a good opportunity to talk to someone.
You're a predator, and you're guilty until proven innocent. Except there's no way to prove innocence. I watched a guy at a bar last weekend approach a woman respectfully, introduced himself, made small talk, and she wasn't interested, which is fine, but she didn't just say no, she said it loud enough for everyone to hear, made a face like he'd spit on her, then immediately told her friends he was creepy. He did nothing wrong, nothing that would have been considered inappropriate in any previous generation, but in 30 seconds his reputation in that venue was destroyed, and every woman in that bar now thinks he's a predator.
Yeah, I personally don't think that, you know, if you're in a bar, if it's a club, like, it's definitely like, I don't know what you're doing there in the first place. And second of all, like, the kind of women who are going to be there just expect that kind of behavior. But yeah, I guess it depends what kind of bar it was. I think the fact that there's like friends around, like a big group of girlfriends is usually something I'd be like, ugh, avoid. I don't know why we're like that. I don't know why women in groups we're so nasty.
Because one woman decided his interest was offensive. Then there's the digital risk that hangs over every interaction like a guillotine. 1 in 3 women will film interactions they don't like and post them online, and you don't even need to do anything.
1 in 3 women will post online things that they don't like. What was that again?
Women will film interactions they don't like.
1 in 3 women will film interactions they don't like. That is wild. I'm not saying I don't believe it, but I am not sold. Because if that was the case, I feel like I would have at least seen someone, because I obviously know more than 3 women, right? I would have seen someone do it, or at least know personally of a guy who's appeared in a video like that. Yeah, there's no evidence to support that claim. Again, I'm not saying it doesn't happen. It definitely does happen. But when I hear stats like that are that big, 1 in 3, like that is a huge chunk, I think of like automatically real life. You know, when you hear the stats that are, you know, men obviously like losing custody over children, and obviously like the stats on divorce, like we all know someone that's happened to, so it's much easier to believe those stats. But something like that, 1 in 3 women will film interactions they don't like. Guys, I like to explore truth on this channel, and this video is literally titled The Truth. But I don't think that's true. I don't think that's true. That is not me discrediting the risk that is there, because there is certainly a risk, and there shouldn't be any risk of being filmed for approaching someone and stuff like that. Like, I'm not justifying that by any means. The risk is there. I understand the risk, and I'm not even urging you to still go out and take that risk, because it's not my position to say. But I care about truth, and I don't think this is true. You know, just to give you guys like my perspective, obviously this is just my little corner of the world that I live in, and I know that everyone has their own experiences, but I can only comment on mine because I haven't lived your life. And if your life is a different experience to mine, then, you know, that's absolutely fine. I have never filmed a guy doing something I don't think is right. I don't know any women, literally I don't know one woman who has filmed a guy doing something that they don't like. And I obviously know women who haven't had ideal relationships. I don't know anyone who has filmed a guy doing something that they don't like. I don't know any men that have been exposed in videos like this. I've seen it. I've reacted to lots of it, especially in the gym. I think the gym is the #1 thing. I'll be honest, I haven't seen a video like this. I haven't seen a video where a guy has approached a girl and she started like filming him. If I have, maybe 1 or 2, but I can't recall it off of my memory right now. But usually what I see is guys being filmed in the gym, or like a guy messaging a girl online and then her, you know, going to his employer and stuff like that. But this exact scenario, yeah, 1 in 3 women will film interactions they don't like. Yeah, I don't want you guys to get that like stat in your head and think that that's an accurate representation, because the world is bleak enough. Like the odds are already stacked against you enough. Like you already have enough crap to deal with and enough of a risk to take. Like I'm not gonna just blindly agree with this and put more weight and risk on your head and shoulders that personally I don't think is quite true. That's not to say that it couldn't become true. You know, of course it could become true. But as far as I'm concerned, I think that's a bit of an exaggeration. But that's not to take away from the point that's being made.
And post them online. And you don't even need to do anything wrong. She just needs to feel uncomfortable, which is entirely subjective and changes based on whether she finds you attractive. Same approach, different results depending on factors you can't control.
Yep.
Your height, your face, your status, things you were born with or without. And that's what determines whether you're confident or creepy, charming or threatening. A client of mine, successful engineer, good guy, respectful, approached a woman at a bookstore with a polite introduction, took the rejection gracefully when she wasn't interested, and thought nothing more of it. She filmed the entire thing, edited out his polite behavior, posted it on TikTok with, "Why do men think they can just talk to us?" And it got 400,000 views. His face was visible, completely clear. His co-worker saw it. People he did business with saw it. And HR called him in for a conversation about his behavior outside of work. He did absolutely nothing wrong, but his career was
Yeah, I certainly believe stuff like that happens.
damaged. His reputation was questioned, and his life was complicated because one woman decided to weaponize a normal social...
Do you know what I think it is? I think maybe it's not even that women are necessarily filming men doing something they don't like. Like, they certainly do that. I'm not saying they don't, but I think probably a lot of it is the fact that women are constantly filming themselves. It's ironic, isn't it? Because I'm sat here in front of a camera, but you always see it. Like, I literally can't go out these days anymore without seeing like a bunch of teenagers stood in front of their phone doing a little like stupid TikTok dance, or like, you know, women just walking around like this all the time. Women are always filming themselves. You know, everyone's got a tripod. Everyone's like doing this stuff in public. Geez, at least I film myself in private. Like, everyone's always filming themselves. So it's like, people are bound to catch these things happening more often. And then when it does, they're like, oh, this is a great way for me to go viral, for me to get attention, which is awful. It's bloody awful. Like, stop filming yourself. It really winds me up when I see it. Especially the one, I see so many kids, so many young girls. They've propped their phone up somewhere. Maybe they've got a tripod. Like, literally, I see this happen a lot. And they're just doing some like stupid dance. And I'm just like in the back, like awkwardly, like, just what do I do? Like, where do I walk? What do I do? Like, oh gosh, it's so awkward.
Interaction for internet clout. Let's talk about the actual math, because numbers don't lie, even when everyone else does. The average man needs to approach approximately 20 to 30 women to get one phone number. And of those numbers, maybe 20% turn into actual dates, which means that's 100 to 150 approaches for a single date.
I would really like to know where this evidence is coming from. And I'm not saying it's not true for some people, because of course it is. But, like, my issue is, how do you measure that? Like, how do you accurately measure that? I don't know if you guys watched recently, I did a reaction to the giant women versus, like, dwarf men, and my whole annoyance with it was that things weren't being conducted in like a fair and concise way. Like, I care about like the accuracy of these things. So when I hear stats like this, like, I'm like, yeah, sure, that could be true, of course. And of course I see it for myself, especially with what I do on YouTube. Like, I see this stuff all the time. But to say that these statistics are like set in stone, like, how do you measure that? How are you measuring how many guys? Like, how can you say the average guy? How do you know it's the average guy? Have you spoke to every single guy? Okay, you spoke to 30 guys. What are these 30 guys like? What do they look like? What's their status? You know, all these things that we know women consider when looking at a potential mate. Like, how have you conducted this study? Is there even a study? That's what's concerning me with this.
And this assumes you're average looking with decent social skills. Not below average, not socially awkward.
Okay, cool. How many people was this tested on?
Just normal. But here's where it gets brutal, where the reality becomes undeniable.
Also, I think the one thing I don't like about this video, it's unusual for me to get sort of annoyed by one of these videos. The one thing I don't like about this is that this guy is just telling you guys you're part of a statistic and you have no hope. You know, he's not even giving you agency over your lives. You know, like, I, of course, don't want guys to stop dating, but I understand why guys do. I also understand I'm not a guy, so I'm not going to sit here and tell you what you should or shouldn't do. I want you to have the agency over your own life. If you look at stats, actual stats, you know, that have actually been like measured, and you decide this is too much of a risk for me to take, or even if it's not stats, even if you just look online and every time you go online, you're seeing a gym video of a guy getting filmed, or you're seeing these videos that I personally haven't seen of people getting rejected in the club, and you decide, you know what, this is too much for me. If you look at the family courts and you say, do you know what, this is too much of a risk for me, that's absolutely fine. Like, I'm not here to say that that's the wrong choice, because that's you. You have agency over your life. But if you decide, I see all the stats, I understand the risk that I'm taking, I still want to take it, that's also your decision. You have the agency to choose, you know, where the weight is for you. That's your life. Whereas this video just feels to me like someone is trying to convince you that you have to be a statistic, that you have to agree that the risk is too high. And I don't like that. I don't like this insistence on you don't get a choice. Because that's not the reality. Again, I'm not taking away from the fact that the risk is incredibly high. And I'm not in that position. So I can't sit here and say like, oh, would I take it or not? Because I don't know. How can I possibly fathom that? Like, when I'm a female, it's a completely different experience. I don't even have to think about this stuff. But you should get to decide. You should get to look at your own individual life and what's going on in the world around you, the actual world around you, not just the online world. And you get to decide like what you want to do with that. I don't like this idea of people spreading either message. I don't like the tradcon Christians who go around saying, yeah, like there's stuff that needs reform. The marriage courts need reform. Family courts need reform. But you should still go get married and have children. You should still do this. I don't like that, because you don't get to say that. It's an individual choice. And in the same way, I don't like videos like this where it says you're bound to lose. Like, this is definitely going to happen to you. Because that's not true either. Is it likely this stuff will happen? Like, yeah, but is it this dire? The world's bleak enough. I keep saying it. The world's bleak enough, man. You don't need to be pushed even further into a dark hole, because that's not the reality. Like, the world, it was Nietzsche who said life is suffering. Like, I absolutely believe that is true. Like, there is never a happy ending. Even if you get married and you have children, it works out, she doesn't divorce you, she doesn't take the money, she's a great wife, like, you're still gonna struggle. There's still gonna be struggles that come up and keep coming, and like, that is it till we die. It's an uphill battle until we die. But you get to choose which battles you take. And if marriage and pursuing a woman isn't one of those battles you want to take, that's absolutely fine. But some people do want to take that, and that's fine too. But it's all about the fact that we all need to be informed on what's actually happening. And this stuff is happening, yeah, but it's not 100%. And the kind of feeling I'm getting from this video is like, all hope is absolutely gone. And again, like, this channel is me, my personal thoughts and opinions. And obviously, Vale, you asked for my thoughts and opinions on this. My opinion is, I can't live in a world without hope. I don't know about you guys, but for me, I can't live in a world without hope. So, yeah, I'm going to keep hoping, because otherwise, what's the point? And unfortunately, I know that's the conclusion that a lot of guys are coming to. That's why we've got such a big problem with, obviously, I can't really say the word, but men, unfortunately, unaliving themselves. And yeah, when people are coming to that conclusion, to me, that's an indication that, you know, we need hope. And hope is not, you know, the tradcon falsifying of, you know, oh, men are just choosing to do this for no good reason. Like, that's not it. I think we can all live in reality and agree that reality right now is definitely skewed against men. Men have it real tough right now. They've always had it tougher than women, but right now in particular, men are in a real tough position. But that doesn't mean that they don't have a choice. You always have a choice. You always have a choice over your life. And I don't like the insistence that you don't have a choice. Okay, ran over.
Each of those 100 plus rejections isn't neutral anymore like it was for your grandfather. Each one carries potential catastrophic downside like public humiliation, social...
Yeah, that's absolutely true. But again, like, the risks are different. Human beings are still human beings. Like, the risks still would have been there before. They just would have been different risks. Maybe not the public humiliation, social media exposure, but maybe like a family of psychos, maybe your father-in-law like is going to beat you up. Like, I don't know. There's other stuff, you know.
Media exposure, reputation damage, being labeled creepy, getting thrown out of venues, having women warn each other about you like you're a registered predator. You're playing Russian roulette where every chamber has a bullet.
See, it's that. It's that. You are playing Russian roulette. Absolutely. And maybe there's 10 chambers and probably like 6 of them have bullets. It's that. It's every chamber has a bullet. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. That's not the real world. Nothing in this world, nothing is 100%. Even us being here right now is not 100%. We could all just stop existing at any moment. The whole planet could stop existing at literally any given moment. You're never in a position where you're in Russian roulette and every gun has a chamber. I don't think so. Correct me if I'm wrong here, but 9 out of 10, maybe your position is that bad. Genuinely, I'm not trying to take away from any of this, but the insistence that every single person watching this is playing Russian roulette with a gun with 10 bullets in all 10 chambers. I don't know. That's not fair. That's not accurate to, this video feels like it's putting all men in the same category, which is like, isn't that what women do anyway? Isn't that the whole problem with what women are doing? And that's not the truth. I know that's not the truth because I'm a woman and I don't view men as these evil creatures. I know that's not the truth. So, yeah, there are individuals watching this, Mr. Guy making this video, and you don't know each one of those individuals or their individual lives. So how are you able to say with absolute certainty that every single one of them is holding a bullet with, holding a gun with a bullet in every chamber? I don't think that's accurate.
And one of them is nuclear, and the reward for winning, a first date with someone who's probably talking to 5 other guys, has unrealistic expectations programmed by social media and rom-coms, and will ghost you after you spend $200 on dinner because she didn't feel a spark. The incentive structure is completely broken. The risk-reward ratio is inverted.
Yeah, absolutely. This is all true stuff. Absolutely. But again, you get to make the choice whether you're willing to take the risk, because it doesn't mean it's always going to be like that. The risk to reward is definitely skewed that way, 100%.
And every man with basic pattern recognition skills can see it.
Yeah.
I counsel men who've been destroyed by single approaches, men whose lives were altered by one interaction. One guy complimented a co-worker at a company event. Just a simple, respectful compliment, appropriate for the setting. One sentence, "You look nice today," and she reported him to HR for creating a hostile environment. He got written up. His promotion was delayed 6 months. His reputation was damaged permanently in that company, and all for saying something that every generation before him would have considered normal, polite, even kind. The Me Too movement was necessary to address real predators, men who actually abused power and harmed women, and nobody debates that. Nobody with any sense argues that those men didn't deserve consequences, but it created collateral damage that nobody wants to acknowledge, a chilling effect on normal male behavior that extends far beyond punishing actual predators. Millions of normal men watched what happened to men whose only crime was misreading signals or being awkward, and they made a rational decision based on observable patterns. The risk isn't worth it. Every man saw the same pattern repeat itself across industries, across social classes, across the entire culture. Accusations don't require proof anymore. Being accused is enough to destroy you. Your intention doesn't matter. Only her perception matters, and her perception is reality by default, and her perception can change years later when it becomes advantageous to reframe normal interactions as harassment, when she needs victim status for social currency, when destroying you becomes useful to her narrative. Think about what this does to male psychology, the impossible position it creates. You're told to approach women, be confident, take initiative, because that's what masculinity looks like. That's what women say they want. But you're also told that unwanted attention is harassment, that making someone uncomfortable is assault, that crossing invisible boundaries makes you a predator. How do you know if your attention is wanted before you offer it? You can't. It's literally impossible. It's a catch-22 where the only winning move is not to play. I had a client who asked a woman at his gym for her number after they'd made eye contact and smiled at each other for weeks. Clear signals of mutual interest by any reasonable standard. She said yes, seemed enthusiastic. They dated for 3 weeks and it didn't work out, which happens, totally normal. 6 months later, she told the gym staff he'd harassed her, made her uncomfortable, pursued her when she didn't want it. He got banned from his gym of 5 years without any investigation, without any hearing, without any chance to defend himself, just her word against his, and her word was enough. Here's the part that makes men's heads explode. The reality that breaks the entire framework of just be respectful. The exact same approach is either charming or creepy, depending entirely on whether she finds you attractive, not your behavior, not your words, not your respect level, not your intentions, just your face, your height, and your status. A good-looking guy can be forward, sexual, even crude in his approach, and it's confident and he knows what he wants, and so refreshing. An average guy makes gentle small talk with perfect respect, and he's creepy and trying too hard, and why can't men just leave women alone? Same behavior, same words, same respectful tone, completely different outcomes based on factors you can't control, factors you were born with or without, genetic lottery results that determine whether you're allowed to participate in dating at all. You're being judged before you open your mouth, sentenced before the trial, and the verdict is based on whether your face meets her standards. Watch how women react to approaches from attractive men versus average men, and you'll see the pattern immediately. The attractive guy gets smiles, open body language, engagement, phone numbers handed over eagerly. I'd love to grab coffee sometime. The average guy using identical words gets one-word answers, closed body language, quick exits, and I have a boyfriend whether she does or not. Then women claim men don't approach anymore. Men aren't confident. Men are too scared. They do approach. You just don't.
I think the problem is that women, there's so much that goes into it, but the fact is that what women are saying when they say men don't approach anymore is the men we want don't approach anymore. And I think the roll-on effect of that is that no one is going to end up approaching anymore eventually. But what they're essentially saying is the men we want don't approach anymore. And the men they want, the reason they're not approaching them is not because those men have stopped approaching. It's because they're not approaching most women. The men they want is usually the top 10 to 1% of men. And yet 90% of women want those guys. So when they say men aren't approaching us anymore, what they're really saying is the men we want. And I think that problem ultimately comes down to the fact of the overinflated female ego, the lack of being able to recognize a woman's status in terms of her looks and her sexual market value. And that obviously comes from the current culture, the current climate, the fact that everything is centered around women, the fact that women are constantly told that they're good enough as they are, they don't have to do anything to improve, social media, the kind of, affirmation from friends and family, you're perfect the way you are. So they think, all women think they're a 10 when they're not. So ultimately, to fix this issue of, men aren't approaching anymore, I think the cause and the onus of responsibility is on women, and it's on women collectively to be able to recreate social hierarchy of females. Now I know that that's a long shot, but I think that the antidote to feminism is females. I think females need to be able to be real with each other and wake each other up and actually help each other do what is in our best interests. Because okay, a friend says, "Oh, men aren't approaching me anymore." Okay, like no men at all. Well, yeah, there was this guy or that guy, and this is always the story, by the way. Like I've heard this before. There was this guy or that guy, but he's not this or he's not that. Or there's always something wrong. There's always one thing wrong. And then it's like you hear them complain that they're lonely, this, that, and the other. It's like, okay, well, what am I supposed to tell you as your friend? Because what's actually good for you, you don't want to know because you refuse to accept that this is where you are. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Women have a fundamental problem with reality. They don't want to live in it. And it's like when you make non-reality so appealing and so attractive to the ego, it can be very hard to break that. And I try and be as honest as I can on this channel. I don't know what will break that ego. Because there are creators like me out there who are obviously female and say these kind of things. And obviously there are a lot of men who are saying a similar thing. but nothing's really changing culture wide, on the macro scale. An ego bond, if the ego has this idea, whether it be, your identity or your sexual performativeness or all of these stuff, like if the ego has something that makes it feel good, I mean, it's pride, isn't it? If you have this sense of identity that makes you feel really, really good, people don't want to let that go. So obviously if all these women can tell themselves I'm a 10 and it's reaffirmed everywhere they go, why would they want to give that up? That's power, that's pride. And even with reality saying like, oh, you could be happy in a relationship and not be lonely, they would then have to agree to reality and agree like, oh, okay, this is where I'm at. So this is the kind of person that I need to go for and the kind of person that's going to be good for me. So yeah, in all honesty, I don't know what it takes for that to happen. But as I said, I don't like to live in a world without hope. I do think there is an answer. I just haven't figured it out yet, but I'm trying.
Notice because you're rejecting them before they finish their opening line, erasing them from your perception because they don't meet your attractiveness threshold. I see this constantly in my practice. The same experiment run over and over with identical results. A client approached women at bars for a month, and he's 6'2", good-looking, successful career, objectively attractive by any standard, and he had a 60% success rate getting numbers. His friend, 5'7", average-looking, same job, same income, same social skills, used the exact same lines, the exact same approach, the exact same respect, 5% success rate, 12 times worse, same words, same respectful approach, 55% difference in outcomes based purely on genetics.
Yeah, and I absolutely think that is something that happens. The outcomes are definitely going to be different for sure. But 5% success is still 5% more than zero, right? I really dislike the framing of this video. So I'm just checking out the channel, and the person in this video is responding to... He's essentially saying in his practice, I've heard him mention his practice multiple times before, but yeah, I'm not seeing anything that suggests that any of this is true. I'm like, who are you? This is just a channel with diving into the raw psychology of modern relationships with Psych Ledger. What practice do you do? Who are you? Where is this coming from? And again, like most of this is obvious common sense, right? We've seen this stuff over and over again on the internet. Like there are a lot of stats to prove a lot of this stuff. But like even the channel Truth Bombs, backed by research. Where's the research? I mean, he's talking a lot about, having a community where people are obviously sharing their hard experiences, which I think is great. But it's like, if that's your practice, say that. Say, I've created a YouTube channel where guys share their experiences, and just say someone shared this experience, someone shared that experience. But I don't like the black and white way it's being presented. Maybe I'm just being a woman and I'm just being pedantic, and please feel free to tell me if that is the case, because I'm very open to criticism. But I don't like this, because I do know people who are 5'7" and in fact shorter. In fact, two of my closest friends are both actually the same height. They're both slightly shorter than me. They're about 5'5", both of them, I think. And they've been together for 6 years. Like my parents, I'm quite tall, but obviously I'm adopted. So before you guys get confused by their height, my parents are really small. Like my mom is 4'11". I think my dad is about 5'3", 5'4". And I've spoke to my dad about this before when I first started doing the channel, and I learned about, the whole height thing and how much of a requirement it was for a lot of modern women. And, my dad told me, like, before my mom, like, he had lots of girlfriends and lots of them were taller than him. Now, again, I understand that was a different time. Like, when my dad was a bachelor, that was a long time ago. But, like, again, it's that whole thing of 100% of, it's 100% not going to work out. Like, that's not true, because that generalizes all men. that generalizes every man who's 5'7" to say you're only going to have a 5% success rate. And I don't want you to think that, because you don't deserve to think like that. Like, everyone has, there are going to be a lot of people that fit the statistics. This is my problem with statistics. I'm going to get kind of personal here. The problem with statistics is that statistics are indicative of what is going on in society. Absolutely, 100%. And, you know, there are always going to be outliers to that. The great thing about life is that as an individual with free will, if you believe in that, who knows? I don't even know if I do. But as an individual, you have the opportunity to choose who you become, even with the cards that you're dealt, right? I am adopted, right? I went through the care system. Judging by statistics, right now, I should either be in prison or, you know, committing crimes or on drugs or an alcoholic. And I'm none of those things, because I actively chose and worked to not be part of the statistic. And yeah, that's just my whole problem with this. Like, you get to judge what you do with information. I just don't like this insistence that, you know, it's the same for everyone, because we all know that's not true. Like, your differences experience a different experience to mine. You know, even all of you with the issues that you've had with women, with divorce and, you know, child, family court stuff, and even just like basic trying to chat a girl up and it going wrong. Like, you've all had very similar experiences. But how that affects you as an individual is going to vary person to person. So again, I just want to reiterate, like, I'm not discrediting any of this and not saying it's not true, because it absolutely is. But the insistence that it's always going to be true for everyone is what I don't like. And I'm not even saying that it's like 50-50 and it's going to be different each time. No. The odds are stacked against you. There's no dismissing that. As I said, maybe there's 6 out of 10 bullets in the chambers. Maybe there's 9 out of 10. Like, you are taking a huge risk. Hence why I'm not saying you should definitely take it. But I am saying that nothing is ever truly black and white. So you get to decide how much is the risk for you and are you willing to take it? And if you're not, fine. Do what makes you happy. If you are and you want to, fine. Do what makes you happy. I think the comments is probably, I'm going to stop the video there, because it seems to be, it said a lot of the same things again and again. But I think the comments are probably a good place to look, because these are people telling you from their experience. And I think that's good. I'm always for a sense of community, and I think that's great. I think, you know, being in comment sections with other people, sharing your experiences is great. And it gives you like more of an anecdotal side of things. And I think if videos like this are prompting these kind of conversations, like, that's great. It's just the framing. I really don't like the suggestion that life is ever completely black and white. And I think, yeah, you're grouping all men into the same category. And again, I'm not saying that it's not a lot of men. I'm not even saying it's only half of men that have this experience. Most men are having this experience. Let's not get that twisted. It is absolutely most men that are going through this horrifying experience in the world right now, not just in dating, but just in general. Men are not being treated fairly, mostly, 9 times out of 10. But let's not become the feminists. Like, let's not do what they do. Let's not say that all men are the same, all women are the same. Majority of men are going to have the same experience. Majority of women are going to behave in a similar way, of course. But the world's bleak enough. For the third and final time, let's stick to what is actually happening, what is actual reality, and just be a bit more accurate with what we are claiming. I don't know. That's just what I think. Why don't you let me know what you think in the comment section below? I'm so intrigued to hear your thoughts on this one, because this is probably the first time, thank you, Vale, for sending it over. This is probably the first time that I have seen a video like this, and I've had to stop for a second and think, what is this actually saying here? So thank you for sending it over, because it has allowed me to explore a lot of my own thoughts and what I think is important for people. And I think the main thing that is important for men is just to be able to live in reality. You know, this channel is just me and my opinions and my experiences, which obviously you can add to your database of anecdotes. And yeah, do with that what you will. But I think we all need to live a bit more in actual reality. And as I said before, like some of the stats in there, I personally don't know anyone or have seen anything like that ever happen. I know it does. I know it does a lot. But again, always try and look in the real world too. I'm going to end it there for today. As always, guys, if you liked this video, please do give it a thumbs up on your way out. Be sure to subscribe to the channel to keep up to date with all of my content. As mentioned previously, if you are someone that you've evaluated the risks and you do want to pursue women, but you want to get a better strategy of how to do things, then definitely check out the Wing Girl method. You can do that by clicking the link in the description. It's a full step-by-step program. Try it. If it works for you, great. If it doesn't, then obviously you can discard it, but that's for you to decide ultimately. And as always, if you'd like to donate to the channel, you can do that by clicking the link in the description or by becoming a member right here on YouTube. And thank you very much, Valentin, for sending the video over. I appreciate you very much. Thank you for being here. Thank you for supporting the channel. And on that note, I will see you very soon in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.